welcome back. KP, good morning. Daryl, howdy. Hope you're doing well. All right, let me see here. I just got back, so give me a second to chart some of this out. Huh, wow. That is funky looking. Let me know real quick in the chat, do I need to refresh my data or do the candles look normal to you? I think it's fine. I refreshed earlier and I think it's fine, but what? It just looks wild. This move looks wild. One of those funny ones where, like, I guess you could draw a tight one in here. Let me move that. You could draw a tight channel in there from this higher low, but just kind of an odd one. Doesn't look quite right. So I think we need some more price action to determine if what's going on there, because that doesn't look right. When you have all this space here and all this space down here, just does not look it just does not look like a normal or sustainable channel. So you got to draw something tight here just to be aware of it. This was an earlier range I had drawn. I just dragged it over just in case this comes into play again. It wasn't really a very consistent range, but it was there, so I wanted to put it in there. We could actually drag this down very slightly to those closes and look at this kind of like a failed breakout, but really wasn't the most consistent range anyway. Today's kind of a funny day because it started off really good with like two pretty easy setups, but then it just got very challenging. So I'll talk about all that in just a second. I want to give it a minute for everybody to get here and to pop in. So let me give it a second just for everyone's notifications to go off. That way they don't have to rewind everything. And hang on one second. I got to minimize something. Hold on. All right. That. Sorry, just give me one moment here. Okay, cool. All right, I think we're all good now. Thanks, everybody, for liking it, for liking the stream. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, good, John. Good, Daryl. Thank you for confirming. Yeah, that was a wild move. All right, so this is the way I looked at it today. So we came in. If we zoom out and just look at last Friday, well, if we just really look at what happened, we had this big move down, and then on Friday we had a big rally from the lows, and then we just went sideways. Now, nothing to write home about there. But then we closed Friday right here at this brown line. So in the overnight, it opened and spiked down and then rallied up. So the overnight had an up channel with a close outside and then a couple legs to a new high. It's really like it's kind of like 3 legs to a new high, but it's really like 2 big legs like this. See? This is not really like a 2-legged move here. I mean, by the count it would be, but really this is like 2 legs to a new high and then a reversal. Technically, this is a 2-legged move, and this is also like a 2-legged, almost 3-legged move, but really 2 big legs up. So then it rallies down, or then it reverses into an aggressive down channel. So in the overnight, there was an aggressive down channel. 5 or so in the morning Pacific time was one of these candles in here, right here. So this candle. So if you were here early, you could be trading this, you know, you could be watching this, but there's not really any setups. It's all first entries after that. And then it just comes down to this point. So when I got in this morning, I actually thought we were going to get a nice second entry short here, and it just didn't happen, unfortunately. So basically when I got in, because this is like just before 6, so I was getting in around like the low of this move this morning. And so I saw this little short-term up channel close outside first entry short, but then it came almost all the way to the low. And then it came up and gave us a second entry short, but the signal bar would be this green bar, so you can't short that. So unfortunately, we don't get a trade there. I really, really wanted a second entry short here. And this was one of those annoying ones where I had to just watch it go even though I couldn't take it. So that happens, and you just have to be okay with that. But don't break the rules. Don't do it. I actually thought we were going to get this equal high here and then get a second entry below this little small candle. But that would have been dicey because it's kind of sideways there. So what I was hoping for was a bearish candle right here. Lower high, second entry short, or maybe a tap of the EMA and then second entry short. But anyway, just the way it goes. You gotta accept that you're not gonna get a setup sometimes, even though we knew it was gonna happen there. So it runs down, and so I like this here because you basically get first leg down, pull back, second leg down, and then this one kind of just goes a little further. So you basically get 2 legs to a new low, a little more than 2 legs to a new low, and then you get a bullish candle right here. Don't pick a bottom there. Because you see what happens here. If you pick the bottom and try to take the long, you get a loss. So don't pick the bottom. Wait for the higher low. And so then after that, you get the higher low here. Really nice signal bar. Room to the EMA. I will say it's a little bit risky there. It is a little risky because, you know, it's going lower here. And, like, you don't know for sure at the time that you're not going to get some kind of, like, little flatter channel. You know, something like that. You don't really know for sure. Ideally, what you want here is like a failure. So like a higher low, first entry short. And then like up here, you get like another higher low, failed second entry short that you can go long on. But you don't get it. But the higher low is reasonable because you got the close outside, 2 clear legs to a new low, and this is looking like a reversal pattern. So if you took that, that's a nice setup. It's a big bar, though. It is a 20-tick bar. It's right after the open, but you're probably going to get some momentum. We closed all the way up here, so we're probably going to try to run up there. Then it just turns into this really tight uptrend. I don't have it drawn here, but this thing was tight. Like, there's not even really a good way to draw this. I mean, I guess you could kind of draw it like that. Sort of. It just was a tight move up. Then it closes outside, it makes a new high, it comes down. Now you do get this one here. So I took this trade and I screenshot my runner on this one. I took off my runner at yesterday's close, or sorry, Friday's close, because that's where I thought we might get some pullback. I could have gotten more out of this if I let it run further, but I just wanted to take off my runner at the close because I was worried after this close outside new high, I was worried that we were going to tap it and then turn into like a range because it was starting to look a little sideways. But this trend is coming up. You get this pullback, first entry long. It doesn't make a new high here because this high is 67.6450. This one's actually 67.6425, so it's 1 tick lower. So it's actually a pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long. I waited for this bar to close, but this is one of those ones that you could enter on the engulfing bar, which would mean that you could get in, you know, basically 2 ticks better entry, I think. 2 or 3 ticks better entry. You could do that. I waited for it to close just to confirm that we were going to stay bullish here. Because what I didn't want to see was sometimes if you enter on the engulfing bar there, what if it ticks up and then reverses and you get a bearish candle here and it traps you? So I stayed in. I waited. Oh, wait. My bad. I had the volume of the music way loud. I'm sorry about that. I didn't even realize that till just now. Sorry if that was sounding real loud to everybody. I just lowered it. My bad. My bad. I just noticed that the volume was turned up on the audio. Anyway, hopefully you guys all heard me okay. Let me know in the chat. Did you hear me okay while I was talking about all that? Hopefully I don't have to go back and redo any of that. I'm going to wait a second. I think this is one of my quieter recordings, but hopefully that wasn't super loud. Screen looks too dark. What? Let me look. Okay, could you hear me okay, though, when I talked about it? Sorry that the volume was so loud. That was just my bad. All right, let me I didn't even realize till just now. Like it's in night mode? Alright, let me go look. Let me go look at my side and see what you're seeing on your side. Let me pull up the YouTube stream. Hold on. View on YouTube. Mute it. Nah, it looks fine. I have my screen like that on purpose. What is your name? Turn P. I have my screen like that on purpose. It's better for your eyes to look at a black background than a big, bright, white background. Yeah, chart looks normal to me, so I don't know what you mean. Okay, yeah, John. I will explain it. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any comments. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, anyway, sorry about the volume. Sorry. That was an accident. All right, so here's what it is, John. So right here, new high, pullback, first entry, pullback. So when we're looking at a second entry, what we're trying to do is count from the candle where the next candle breaks higher, right? So here's a first entry because this candle breaks higher than this candle. Now, as you go down, none of these candles are breaking higher, right? So basically, like, if a candle broke above this, it would be a first entry above this candle, but it didn't happen. If a candle breaks above this, it'll be a first entry, but it doesn't happen. If a candle breaks above this candle, it'll be a first entry, and it does happen. Now, as long as this doesn't make a new high, and it pulls back again, now we can look for a second entry. So above this candle would be a second entry. Doesn't happen on the next candle. Above this candle will be a second entry. But here's the thing. The next candle opens and goes lower. So technically, the next candle is the low of that swing. So really, we want to look for above this candle as a second entry because it is the low of the swing. So we want to look for it to be above this candle, but it engulfs this whole bar. So it all happens in one. Basically, think of it like this. If we had a smaller time frame, actually, you know what? Let me show you. Let me just show you. Give me a second. I'm going to show you because this is going to explain the concept so much better, I think. I have a hunch that it will, at least. So I'm going to change to a 1,000 tick ES chart for a second. I don't advise trading on this or anything, but I'm gonna show you on here. What the heck? This is chopped. That is not. Okay, yeah. You know what? This will be perfect. I'm gonna pull up two charts. I'm gonna pull up a 2,000. I'm gonna pull up a 1,000 tick ES chart. And I'm also going to pull up a even smaller one. I'm going to pull up like a 500 tick chart. Now, this is not, again, I don't advise trading on these, but I'm just going to show you something here. I'm going to show you something here. So, all right. So, let me wait. I'm waiting for it to load. All right, here. I'll just pull up the screen again. I'm waiting for it to all load. Everything's going to look weird here. But there's going to be a ton of candles. Okay. So, this is the 500 tick chart. This is actually that high. This is that top of the first entry. And then it goes all the way down. This is the candle right here on the 500 tick chart. The second entry long looks like this on here. Now it's not actually one on the 500 tick. You can see it's a little bit different. And I didn't move any of the trend lines. These are the original trend lines from the 2000 tick chart. But you can see how it looks on here. Now, I'm going to X out of this. This is the 500 tick chart. Here's the 1,000 tick chart. It looks a little bit more straightforward here. And these are the levels that I just drew. So we have this high. Now, on the 1,000 tick chart, you actually have a first entry, second entry long here. Then it comes up, and this is kind of like a higher low after a second entry long because it didn't make a new high yet. It looks different on the 1,000. But you see how these are equal lows on the 1,000? So if you were counting this, you're going to use the equal low as your low. So now let me X out of that and go back to the 2000. On the 2000, what happened there is a little different. The candle closes, there's another one that opens, goes down, and then comes all the way up. So basically what I'm trying to say is, depending on your time frame, there might be more than one candle in this move here. And so this is like your low. So you're using the swing low, and you're looking for a break above that bar in the leg. So this is leg 1, and from the low, the break above is the first entry, and this is leg 2, and from the low, the break above that bar is the second entry. So in this case, we get, because this is how it happens in real time, this candle opens and pushes lower first and then reverses. So above this bar right here kind of creates a second entry long all in one bar on an engulfing bar. But if you enter that trade, it's risky, because what happens if before this bar closes it pushes up, and then after that, before it closes, it pushes all the way down and like closes way down here. Well, now you entered a trade on a really bad looking bar. So that's why I waited for it to close. Does that make sense, John? I hope that explains it well. I'll wait for your answer, and then while I wait, I'll look at these other questions. All right, let's see. ES trading. You rewound a bit, and that low of day, and that started the spike up. You said had a second entry long that lost. Wait a second. Wait, there's a second entry long that lost. Hold on a second. What did I say? I said, oh, yeah, right here. Yes, correct. If you took that trade, you would have had a loss. And that is because you're picking the bottom. You need to wait after the 2 legs to a new low for like a higher low, so that you're really catching the reversal. Like, you don't want to go first entry, second entry long and take that trade right there, because it's not a good trade. That's not. Because what you need here is, after you make 2 legs to a new low, you need to confirm for sure that you are actually reversing. So you really need a higher low after that, something like that, which is what you get down here. Because then it makes a third entry long, and then you get the higher low. Now, we don't look at third entry longs, but you see what I mean there. But yeah, for sure. So that's the thing, like... Yeah. So, yeah, and I agree with you. Look, I got nothing but respect for Mac. That's where I learned the most of this strategy. But I found the same problem. When I would go through the daily charts, I'd be like, okay, well, what about that spot that didn't get covered? And there would be times where I had a loss in an area, and I'm like, he didn't even talk about that spot. And it bothered me. And yeah, like, and that's the thing, like, I don't think that you could ever say that everything's going to be 100%. I think that you could say, though, that some of these scalp setups, like the ones that I mark with a green arrow long or a red arrow short, which are the good shorts and the really good longs, the A+ setups, I think you can get those to a point where it's like 99% going to work, right? There is going to be a very, very small chance that you got it wrong, but that's why I mark things yellow as like a caution trade, even if it's something that, like, you might watch one of his videos and he might mark that as like a really good setup, and I'll mark it as a yellow, because if it's not a almost sure thing for me, I'm not marking it as a green or a red. I'm going to mark it as a yellow if it's like only like a 80 to 90% setup. But I don't think there is a such thing for sure as 100%, like, it's trading. Like, there's no way. There just is no way. Yeah, the higher low does work very often. I will say this. If this one went too far and this higher low formed like all the way up here, I'm not taking that. No way. S2, yeah, good to hear it, fam. Good to hear it. Wait, hold on. All right. Okay, so John, you took the exact trades, same place, but you thought you were cheating. No, it's not cheating. The second, look, the engulfing bar, you use the low. You use that bar as your swing low in the move. It's the same thing as when we use an equal high as a higher low or lower high, or the swing of the move, right? Well, this is technically the low. So you use this candle. You just kind of treat this all as this is the move down to here. So above this bar is the second entry long, not above this bar. Because this is the swing low there. This is an inside bar on the other side, right? That's how the engulfing bars work. Yeah, I agree with you, ES Trading. I agree with you. And, yep, I agree with you. And that's something that, that's also part of, to be honest with you, like, it took me a long time to learn the strategy. For sure, because of things like that. I would get frustrated because I'd be like, how is the strategy 100%? I took an exact setup that meets the criteria. What happened? And eventually I realized that there are nuances to reading the chart that I wasn't catching before. But also, like, here's the thing. Yeah, nothing's 100% in trading. It's not. You can have setups that I think are like pretty much 98, 99% though. I think you can even have setups that are like 99.9% type setups. I think you can be very close to 100. I do think that. If you are only going for a scalp, right? So like, I think if, like, for example, like this trade right here, I mean, you're getting your scalp on this. Like, you got room to the highs. This is one that I was confident to mark, right? You got plenty of room to the highs here. Even if it doesn't make a new high, even if it just goes to like even if you just measure this like this and you go, hey, maybe we're forming a range, you have plenty of room in this space, even just to there. You have 2.5 points there. Like, you're going to get that, right? You're going to get that. You're like 99+% right there. But I'm not going to say it's 100. Like, that's just preposterous. Like, anything can happen in trading, and I've seen it, right? Like, I've seen it. And there's spots that I like to address where I see stuff like that, where there's a very slight nuance to why I don't take it or why I mark it yellow. I think it's important for learning, right? I do think it's important. I go over these a lot. Yeah, exactly. And if I take a loss on the day, what I usually do is I go like this. If I take a loss, and you can go back and watch my lives and you'll see this. Like, let's say I don't know, let's just say I went long here. I didn't, but let's just say I did. And it was like or actually, you know what? Let's use the example of the actual one. I didn't take this trade, but let's say I took a loss here. What I do in my live streams is I put one of these arrows here, and then I talk about it and I say, hey, I took a loss here and this is what happened. And I explain it and I'll say, this is why I took a loss. This is why I took the setup. I read the mark. I probably read the chart wrong. This is why I shouldn't have taken it. This is why it was questionable in the first place. And I actually break it down. And I do that. There's even a stream that you can see where I have a rule that if I take 2 losses in a day, I stop trading. Last time it happened to me was maybe, I don't know, maybe it was 2 months ago. I don't remember, but I had a 2-loss day and I broke down both the losses, and it sucks. Like, it sucks to be live streaming and to talk about a blunder, right? But I do it because this is like, you know, it's like kind of like my live review and journal of how I look at the market. So I just wanted to, you know, it helps me learn when I break it down anyway, as painful as it is when that happened. Anyway, yeah, I do think that's the way to do it. All right, let me see. But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. I'm just trying to read these comments or these chat comments. Hold on a second. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's also why you'll notice that with the way I do it, like, well, here's the thing also. So here's the other thing. I'll just show you. If you're in my community, this is today's thread, right? So I start the thread. I post the thread 3 days ago, but I started the comments this morning. So this morning, you can see about 3-4 hours ago, we started to chat, and I start charting the actual market, right? So this was that down move right there. I start charting the actual market, and then you can see this is the market. And you can see as the day is progressing, this is my chart throughout the session. So you can actually follow along with how I looked at things. And you can see how I move things around as we go. And then I will leave commentary about them. You can see here's that trade. When I was literally still writing in second entry long there when I took the screenshot. This was a trade that I was in. And this was the runner. And I was exiting my runner at Friday's close. And so I literally post the stuff in real time in the market while it's all happening. And then, of course, as the day progresses, stuff moves around, right? Like I move trend lines as the day progresses, and you can follow along in real time in the school community. And that's the thing, like, that's why when I do the review, I do it at the time of day that we're at, and then I don't like come back at the end of the day to show the rest of the stuff because I wasn't watching it in real time, right? I only show what I'm watching in real time. That's how I do it. But yeah. All right, sorry, I missed a few comments here. Okay. Well, here's the thing, to you, for this is you, is Israel Osorio. Sorry if I got that wrong. But here's the thing. Yes, we don't have a new low on the short-term downtrend, but we're in an up channel and we're pretty much holding above this EMA here. And the reality is we're right near yesterday or Friday's close. We're probably going to hit that close. So I looked at this as a really good trade. I think this is a really good trade. This is such a bullish bar. I don't want to take it on the engulfing bar. I wait for it to close. I think that's a very good A+ type setup, especially because it's confirming this up channel from the low through this touch and then through this close. I think you're getting a confirmed up channel there. That's how I looked at it. Because even in this short-term trend here, I was looking at this as a wider channel the whole time because the midline fits really nice on this. So I actually like that one. All right, anyway. Yeah, for sure. Hey, that's amazing. That's amazing, ES Trading, that you guys are in your 6th year. I started trading in 2017, so pretty similar trajectory. So that's amazing. And hey, appreciate you for checking out my channel. The way I do it, sorry, I'm going to get back into the rest of the price action in a second, but good discussion today, and I love it. By the way, if you're here, definitely smash up the like button, everybody. We'll go for a small goal today of 20 likes. So smash up the likes. So anyway, ES Trading. So the way I do it is like this. I used to do a live stream on YouTube 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. What I do now instead is I do Monday and Friday on YouTube. In my school community, I do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in there, and it's on Zoom. And so the nice thing with that, it's either on Zoom or we use the school webinar feature. But either way, it's real time. So the nice thing is on YouTube, there's like a 20-ish to 30-second delay. Even though I'm live, it's kind of annoying. Like if you look at my clock up here, you'll see that my clock, it says it's 9:02 and 18 seconds while I'm reading that. But like in real time for you, if you look at your clock, it's probably 20 or 30 seconds later that you're seeing that. It's kind of annoying. There's no way to deal with it. I was talking about this last week. I've tried to figure out if there's any way to make a YouTube stream actually real time, but it's actually not a thing. You can't do it. So I have to just let it roll that way. It's just how it is. Like I can't really do anything to it. But anyway, when I'm in my school community on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do it on, it is actually real time. We're on Zoom, all that stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, ES Trading, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, and I appreciate that. And that's why I did this. Because basically it took me so long to learn that I felt like obligated to be like, look, I need to I need to create something to help people learn this. Like, that was really it. Like, that was my motivation. For years, I had a free trading Discord. I did YouTube for free. And then people started asking me if I would teach it. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will. And I eventually I removed my Discord. It's gone. There's no Freedom Algo Discord anymore because there was too many scammers showing up and pretending to be me, and it was really annoying. So now the only thing I have is my school community, and that's where I teach all this. And everyone can check that out. To those of you who are already like ES Trading, who are obviously not going to be doing the school community because he's already in his 6th year, him and his buddies, he or she. That's amazing. Like, just hey, I appreciate you just watching my YouTube channel and being here in the live chat. I appreciate you, because the free community of YouTube is super amazing. Like, I love talking to you. Even if some of you never join my school community, it doesn't matter to me. Like, look, I'm a trader, right? I do trading. Doing the YouTube and the school community is a side business anyway. Like, trading's the main business. That's the way it's got to stay, and that's the way it's going to be. All right, so we come down here. Let me get back to the price action, because now I got way derailed there. My bad. But hey, good discussion, everybody. Good discussion. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, I knew that there was ways to teach this that would make it click better. And that's why I created what I did. And that's also why I started the free trial, right? Like, now there's a free trial. Last I'll say about it here is, when you come here, it's $99 a month to be in the community and get those extra 3 days a week calls, watch all the stuff live. How do you watch the Zoom stuff? Doug, you go here. So you go to the live chat. You can see the pinned chat. You can also see it in the description. It's school.com/freedomalgo, and they'll take you to the About page. This is where it explains everything, and I'll just real quick explain it. So when you're in here, you get access to the calendar, and all of the links are here for the meetings. So the Zoom meeting links are always on here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then every day I post a thread like this one, and it always has the link to Zoom in it. So after like later today, I'll post one that says November 18th, and it'll have the link for tomorrow's Zoom. And then when I go live, there's always a link here that you can click on. So even when you're in your free trial, you can join those. Now, after the calls, I put all of the recordings here. So you'll have access to that from day one, even on your trial. There's also a Start Here course with a bunch of stuff in it. There's like the welcome. There's a bunch of other videos in here. There's a 4-hour free course. This is the coaching sessions. So you can see, like, I always mark them like this: school exclusive or free YouTube. So they're always on here. I will say this though, when you don't get access to the actual full course until your 7-day trial ends and you're a paying member. And same thing with my indicators that I built that work on here, like the ones that give you these ATR values and take profit target, and the custom drawing tools, and also the leg counter that counts legs and all that for second entries and all that. You only get access to that after you're a full member, because those are like NinjaTrader tools I built for the members, and they just come with your subscription. So just want you to know all that. And yeah, I just trade the ES 2000 tick chart. There are some people in my community who trade like NQ and other stuff, and they use my strategy for that. And I still will answer questions to people who trade those. Like, for example, one of the guys in my community, he trades NQ. So he will sometimes post a chart of NQ and ask me questions, and I'll still answer it based on the price action. I just don't trade NQ. I just trade ES 2000 tick chart. I used to trade crude oil and NQ as well, but I don't trade them anymore. I do trade Bitcoin, but not on as a day trader. I trade it as like a swing trader, and I use the same techniques. All right, but let me why? Okay, so this is funny. I'm like, I want to. All right, I'll answer this question, and then I'm going to keep going through the price action, because I feel bad for everyone here who just wants to hear about the trades. Also, let me zoom out, because now I need to see what's happening in real time. Okay. Oh, there is a second entry forming, possibly off this channel. All right. Anyway, let me talk about this. So, it's a double top though, so those are always risky to treat it like a first entry and then second entry. The double top, I usually reset my count on those. So you need to be careful with a setup like that. All right, so Shidoku, you asked, why do I swear by the ES? All right. And by the way, Doug, if you want to try the free trial, it's 7 days. There's no harm, no foul if you try it and don't like it. And then you can join tomorrow's Zoom and you can see how that goes. On the Zooms, I usually go over things in a lot more depth for the members because it's like more real-time interaction. It almost is like a live course in itself. Okay, so Shidoku, the reason I like the ES is a few things. One, liquidity. It has some of the highest liquidity in the world, right? It's got a ton of volume and liquidity of contracts traded. That's why I trade the 2000 tick chart. If I want to trade the NQ, which has a lot of volume too, don't get me wrong. If I want to trade the NQ, I would actually use a 1000 tick chart because the 1000 tick chart prints about as fast as a 2000 tick ES chart, which means that the ES has about twice as many contracts twice as many transactions as the NQ within the same amount of time. Now the NQ probably has higher volume in terms of actual dollar value denomination, but I don't care about that. I care about actual volume of transactions happening. And the ES has the highest. That's why you trade it with the 2000 tick chart and not something lower. So that matters to me because the higher the volume of transactions, the better the price action is respected. No, 2000 tick chart is not 5 minute. 5 minute is each candle takes 5 minutes to print. 2000 tick means each candle takes 2000 trades to print. So they are very different. Okay, now, back to the point. So the volume of transactions is very important to me. Because if I was going to trade the NQ, I wouldn't trade with putting my stop loss 1 tick below or above the signal bar. I'd probably use 1 point because the way that the NQ moves is a little different. If I was trading crude oil like I used to have to use the 400 tick chart, which is a lot lower volume of transactions. So it's just different. It's just different, and you need to be really careful. Okay, so I also like the way that it prints $12.50 value per tick. So you don't need to trade with that many contracts. There's just a lot that I like about it in that way. So I want to trade the highest. I want to trade the highest volume futures market that is because it's reliable, and that's the ES, right? People are always like, oh, why don't you trade gold futures? Well, it has lower volume. I don't want to trade something with lower volume. It's more risky. It works still, but it's more risky, right? That's the same reason that if I was a stock trader, I would pick the highest volume stock, right? That's what I would do. Or I would trade an ETF like SPY or something. I wouldn't, and also if you trade NQ or something, it's one sector, right? It's all tech stocks. So it's going to move based on the way that one tech stock is pretty much moving. The ES is more of a balanced approach. It's the entire S&P 500. Yeah, exactly. Gold is whippy. So is crude oil. I used to trade crude oil and it was crazy. I don't know what I was thinking trading it, to be honest. The way I got into trading was I trade Bitcoin futures. So I was used to chaos, right? So maybe that's why I liked it. I don't know. All right. Anyway, so here we go. So we come down, we get a first entry long, second entry long, no signal bar. It's in a downtrend. Then you get a little bit of a wider channel down. Now there's an overshoot that happens here. Now I believe this was an overshoot because I drew this as a possible wider channel and it broke through, and it just doesn't make sense to draw this down further like that. I just don't think that it fits very well the way that that looks. And that's just my own subjective opinion. I looked at this like an overshoot. So I didn't want to take any trades after that for a little bit. When we get an overshoot, I'm reluctant to go short, even though I do think we're going to get a new low. And so this is one where you actually get a closeout, a move up, close outside a new high here, and you get a first entry, and you get a second entry short here. But it's totally a trap because of the overshoot. And this is why you got to be careful. This is a setup here that a lot of people probably took as a second entry short because it is a close outside, new high, second leg to a new high. But because you have an overshoot, you got to be careful there. It's kind of sideways. It does close below the EMA, but look where it is. This candle had just been such an aggressive move up. It doesn't go below that one. I think if this bearish candle closed down here, it might have been a little bit better, but it just doesn't. And even then, I think a lower high is safer here. So I don't love that one. And you can see it does fail anyway, and then it goes where you thought. It does go where you thought, but it doesn't make a new low. It almost does, and then it bounces. So then I started to think we had some sort of a range here, but there's just no setups I see. There's a second entry short kind of here, but it's weird. It's not a good signal bar. It's in the middle of the range, and then you get this one. It's just kind of odd. Nothing really in that first entry, second entry short, but nothing really there. And it's kind of a weird one because it fails and then goes lower, but it closes up here. Sucks, John. That sucks. I'm sorry that you, and Tony, same there. Sorry that you guys took that. Sorry that you guys took that short. That was a tough one. I understand why you would take that. But again, you have to be aware of possible overshoots like this. And here's the other thing to consider here. This is the other thing to consider. So you see my short-term downtrend close outside. This is technically a new low here. Close outside, new low. I don't think you want to take this anyway here. You can't go long there, by the way. Sorry, I accidentally glossed over that. There's a first entry, second entry long here that is a close outside new low. You can't go long there because even though it is a close outside new low of the short term, you already have the close outside new high on this up channel right here. So you have to pause going long, and it closes at the EMA right there. It's just a little bit dicey. You're probably going lower there. So first of all, you have to be aware of that aspect. Second thing is, after the close outside there, you can clearly see something like this. This looks like two legs to a new low after this close, right? It looks like two legs to a new low, which means we might be going higher. We're not really expecting this to make the new low right away, especially after an overshoot. When you get an aggressive overshoot like that, it's a little dicey. And the thing is, if you just zoom out and look at your context, look at where you are. You have this high and this low, and you're pretty much in the middle of everything. It could be a big range day at that point, and you're basically taking a short in the middle of it. I just think it's risky there. I just think it's risky, and you need the lower high because this is the swing high of the move. I think you need the lower high there to be confirmed. So that's how I want to look at that. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure I address that, and hopefully that makes sense. If that doesn't, let me know in the chat and I'll clarify it more. By the way, everybody, please smash up the likes. We're going for 20 likes today for a little goal celebration. All right, let me see. So you said you never explain how to, oh yeah, he doesn't explain. So yeah. And look, I don't want to talk smack on him. I learned so much through him, and it's nothing but respect there. So I appreciate your chat and your comments, but I do want to be careful here. Like, I'm not really somebody that wants to talk a bunch of smack on somebody. Like, I learned so much from Mac, and I got nothing but gratitude for the teachings that I did get. Even if I thought there was a better way to do it and improve, I still got nothing but respect. Yeah, so the overshoot, the overshoot is funky. Yeah, and like the way that, for me, if I have to keep making my channel bigger and bigger and bigger, then I'm assuming there's an overshoot. And this one just looks like it to me. It just looked like it in real time, especially the way it reacted right there. And the fact that it came right up and smacked through the other side told me there was an overshoot. That's how I looked at that. Because if it rejected here, right? Like if it rejected on the trend line and went down, then I would go, okay, this is probably wider and there's not an overshoot. But because it just smacked straight through the other side, that's when I said, hey, probably an overshoot. I don't even, hey, that is hilarious to say that. This is actually a hardcore band. Shai Hulud is a hardcore band. But no, I'm actually sober. So, I know that I might not look like it, but I am actually sober. I don't do any of that. I don't drink. You know, despite what you might think, like even this is right on my desk right here. This is literally the ESV Bible. Like I'm actually like pretty spiritual. I'm a Christian and I'm sober. So despite what it might look like. And yeah, this is actually a hardcore band called Shai Hulud. They're named after the sandworms in Dune. Fun fact, I have a Dune sleeve. If you look at my hand, it says, hold on, I don't know if you can read that, but it says fear is the mind killer, and I actually have an entire Dune tattoo sleeve. So, so despite what it might look like, I'm not a stoner or anything like that. But I appreciate you for making me laugh. I appreciate that. That's funny. Yeah, exactly. And back to that. Oh man, you guys are getting me today. I'm like tearing up because I'm laughing. That's funny. All right, so okay. Yeah, the overshoot things can be a little funky. My rule with overshoots is that I'm not picking the edge of an extreme like this. If there's an overshoot, I'm waiting for the lower high. I'm not taking the high of the swing there. I'm waiting for the lower high. Or if it's an overshoot out of the high and I'm looking for a long, I'm waiting for the high or low or something. I agree. Jesus saves. Praise God. I don't try to make this my streams or anything about religion or whatnot. And hey, respect to you, whatever you believe. Respect to you. But yeah, I am definitely a follower of Christ. All right, so we go through here, and let me see. We come down. Sorry, I'm like lost now. Let me get back to where I was. I'll get to the current price action soon. Oh man, I'm like totally off today on that. But I'm glad we're having this. I'm glad we're having a good discussion. I really am. All right, so then we come up. We reverse here. I didn't even draw this, but you could draw a short-term little downtrend here. Sometimes I don't draw them. I just look at them by eye, and you can see close outside. There's a second entry long. We don't have a new low here. We don't have a new low overall. We're not off of like the lows. So I don't want to take this second entry long. I don't think it's a good setup. So I'm not going to even mark it as a yellow. I don't think it's a smart trade to go long right here. Even though there's a second entry long. It's not really a second entry long. It's really a higher low after a second entry long because you have this new high, pullback. There's a first entry long there. Pullback, second entry long, higher low. But the second entry has already moved too far for me to take the higher low. And I don't think it's smart because what could easily happen here is you get a first entry, second entry short on a lower high that just dumps. So I don't think it's a smart trade. It's a visual second entry long. It's really a higher low after a second entry long, but not a good setup. So then we go up. Nothing up here that I like. It's kind of just rejecting off these highs. It looks a little bit like a failed breakout and like a lower high. This is an equal high, so it's kind of like a lower high, but that's kind of sideways. I don't think you want to short that. It's not really a confirmed range yet, so I don't think you can take it. It does come down and make the new low, though, so I do like that. Now, from here, that's kind of a second entry. You're not really looking for that. But from the low, you actually do get a first entry, second entry short. You could argue that we're looking for a new low here, but it's right in the middle of the range, and now it looks like a range. So if you take this trade, you're rolling the dice here. You are rolling the dice. It's not a setup that I'm going to take, but it looks like a trap. It looks like the longs are trapped because a lot of people probably took this higher low thinking it was going to run up here, and they're wrong. So if you took this as a second entry short that's also a trap, then it's reasonable, but it's not ideal. It's not the best setup in the world. It's not anything that I'm going to take in the middle of a range. So I didn't take that. Anyway, yeah. So it runs down. We get this move here, first entry short. Oh, wait, someone said you took a 732 short. 732, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this one. Yeah, so this one, failed breakout, lower high. Okay, so it is a failed breakout up here, pretty much. Especially if at the time you had this drawn a little lower. You could have drawn this like, kind of like this. And then it's like a one-touch, two-touch, failed breakout, lower high. I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable. But at this point, it's moved pretty far. It is nice, but you're going right into that midline. It might run. It might run, but I don't think it's guaranteed. You could argue for it. I think you could argue for it to be at least a yellow. You could call this a lower high after a failed breakout. I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's a sure thing, though, or anything. I don't think it's a red arrow short. I think it is. I think it's reasonable. In real time, I didn't love it because I felt like this was pretty congested up here, and I was concerned. All right. Guy, what are you asking? I don't know how to even answer that question. What do you mean? What are you asking? What are you asking? We're looking at the ES 2000 tick chart, going over the price action, my friend. So anyway, let me know what you're asking. All right, so then this runs down. We get a higher low here, no setups here. It looks like a failed breakout. Comes up, second entry short inside the channel. Can't take that. Can't take any of this. It ends up running up, doesn't make it to the new high, and just reverses. There's just no trades in there. No trades in here. There's nothing that you can really confirm. There's a failure at the lows. Nothing. You're not taking that. That's a bad idea. We look like we might bounce here, and then we don't. So, again, you don't want to take this because we just had a failed breakout, and this is our first time testing these levels again, so you can't treat that like a triple test or anything. You just got to stay out of that. Oh, what TF? Okay, I'm sorry. When I read that, guy, and you said, what TF? I thought you were saying, like, WTF is this? And I was just like, yo, man, why are you coming in here like that? This is the... Oh, classic. This is the 2000 tick chart. So each one of these candlesticks is 2,000 trades. It's not a regular time frame. At the time of day during this, they were printing in about a minute. It's kind of like a 1 minute chart, pretty much. Okay. And Doug, yeah, sometimes. Oh, classic. Yeah, Doug. And again, hey, well, you guys know I'm sober. I don't do that. But I do take trades live sometimes, but not most of the time, because most of the time this is about teaching and learning. I'll only take a really good setup if it's there, but you can go back and look at my live streams, and yeah, I take them sometimes. Also on my Zoom calls with the community, sometimes I take them. So yes, or you'll see me set up a trade and then cancel it if it doesn't trigger. So you will see that from time to time. But yeah, most of the time I'm pretty much done trading by the time I go live here. And this is just going through the trade reviews in real time and all that. Hold on. Guy. Yeah, a tick has two meanings in trading. One is a trade, so a transaction is actually a tick. But also a tick is the smallest unit of movement on your chart. So on the ES, it's a 0.25. That's a tick. So it's kind of annoying because it actually has two meanings. But a tick chart is basically you could think of it as a transaction chart. 2,000 transactions, 2,000 trades happening. All right, so then we run down. Oh, wait, I missed a few comments. What up, CSJ? Good to see you, fam. You said, please do more mindset and lifestyle videos. Hey, thanks for the feedback. I actually am. So I did a mindset video on Saturday. And I also did one the previous Saturday. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do those once a week. If you guys like those. Let me know in the chat. Are you guys fans of those mindset and lifestyle videos? I think they're actually really useful. Like mindset, psychology, lifestyle. Do you like the format where I'm outside doing a walk and talk? Do you prefer if I'm sitting at my desk? I have some mindset videos like that on the channel. I did one a few weeks ago. Yeah, there's several of them on it. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. What do you think? All right. And by the way, if you're here, smash up the likes because once we get to 20, we're going to have a goal celebration. We're at 19. All right. I'm going to get back to the price action in a second. Bayrava. Do I think there... do I think there's funded accounts without paying fees? Only to prove you're trading with... Do I think there's funded accounts without... I have no idea what that means. I don't like funded accounts. I like trading with a cash account. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Hey, we're at 20. Goal! Ah. It's a goal, everybody. W's in the chat. Shout out to you for getting us to our 20 like goal that we were going for. We got 35 people here and 20 likes. We'll make our second goal. Let's make it 35 likes since we're at 35 people. So let's make the goal 35 likes now. And if we get to 65, 25 subscribers, that'd be subscriber. I don't understand. Wait, are you saying, wait, I still don't understand the question. Yeah, I don't understand what you're asking of me. Just do this. Go back and watch my live streams. I used to do them on YouTube 5 days a week. Now I do them twice a week on YouTube, and the other 3 days I do in my school community. So they're all out there. Just go back and look. I go step by step throughout the trading session, marking the trades. I mean, you can verify for yourself that it works. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. If that's what you're asking. I'm not going to like sign up for funded accounts or whatever and do all that. I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to keep trading. That's what I do. I just trade, and then I do this to teach. A tick, yeah. And also, just so you know, there are several people in my school community who trade this strategy, and they use, and some of them use prop accounts and have literally told me that they're getting payouts from it. So I mean, it works. Like it works. Yeah, just ask anybody from the community. Like, the strategy works. Like, you'll see it works. All right. As long as you can stick to it and not tilt psychologically, it works, right? That's the caveat to every strategy. Don't tilt. All right, so CSJ, really helpful. Yeah, all right, cool. Cool, you like those. So you like the walks with the dog? Good. Those are my favorite things to do anyway, because it's literally what I do anyway. Like, I go for a walk every day. Like, I'm actually doing the stuff I say in the video. Like, I actually do that every day, and it's a really cool thing. Yeah, there's no point. There's no point in that. So there's no point. Like, you want. So what are you asking? You're asking me for me to get an evaluation account, trade with it, pass the eval, just to show you that I passed the eval? Is that what you're saying? It's just like, nah. Like, it's just like, it's a waste of my time, waste of my money. And also, everything, I focus on what works for me, right? I trade my account every day, my cash account. I'm not trying to dabble with all these silly little prop firm goals. Oh, you got to get to this level, this drawdown amount, like all this stuff. I trade, I focus on what I do, and I'm not going to diverge from what I do. Going live every day with YouTube and with my school community, talking about all this stuff, it's a tough thing. Like, it's a tough thing to do this every single day, but I do it because I care, and that's how it is. But I'm also not going to compromise my, like, anything that makes me have to essentially, like, change my strategy or, like, look at something else or whatever. I'm not messing with it, because in the past, every time that I've had bad times in my trading career, it's been when I was distracted or trying something that was against what I should be doing, right? Like, oh, like, I'm going to try this divergence strategy or use this or use that. I'm just not doing that. We got to stay on our routine. I talk about this in my mindset videos. Once you know that you have something that's working for you, don't mess with it, right? Stick to it and be militant about sticking to it. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Oregon. I'm originally from the East Coast, so I used to call it Oregon before I moved here. All right, let me change the beats here. Go with I got to record some more handpan. I've been writing all new music, and I haven't recorded any recently, even though I've been writing music. I play my handpan every day, part of my daily rhythm. All All right. Oh, you're wondering if there's a prop firm that gives you a refund if you pass the eval. I have no idea. Never heard of that. I don't mess with it. I just try to stay away from it. All right. Oh, nice. You're from Boston? I'm from New Jersey originally. From New Jersey. I've been to Boston. I'm wearing a Shai Hulud shirt. This is a hardcore band. I went to a hardcore show in Boston way back in the day. The only time I ever went to Boston was, it was in like the early 2000s. I went there for a hardcore show. Road tripped with my buddies. Good times. I was young back then. Way young. All right. Yeah, exactly. Just get that. Exactly. There you go. There you go, CSJ. All right. Anyway, let me get back to the price action because I'm like way off track here. And like most people want me to go through the actual trades here. So that's what we got to do. All right. So, oh, you know what? I totally missed this. I totally missed this earlier. So this is my bad. I didn't even see that there's a second entry here, but it's not, it's kind of a weird one. Now, I don't think I'd necessarily take this, but there's actually a second entry here, and I literally didn't even mark this. Now, it's too close to the low to probably take it, but as you came down here, you actually have a move up, equal high, and this kind of breaks lower. Now, I don't know how this went in real time. Technically, if this broke lower and then reversed, and then made a new high, and then made a new low, below this bar would be kind of like a second entry. I don't know how it actually went in real time, though. So I don't know for sure, but this is kind of a second entry short, just more advanced one, but you wouldn't take it anyway. It's too close to the lows. But I just wanted to call myself out for not actually marking that. So then we come down, and then we get a first entry short, second entry short, but it's above the EMA, and there is a I don't know why I don't have this on here, but earlier I had a short-term little guy like that on there. You can't take the short inside there anyway. Now, I don't know if it works or not, but you don't take that. It's above the EMA. It's, yeah, you want it to make a new low here, but the way that that forms inside the channel, you can't take that. And so then it comes up and makes this one, which is like a lower high, but you can't take that either because this is congestion now. You have 3 bars stacked up. So really it's 4 bars stacked up. So when you get these here, you can see that like this bar closes at the same place as this one. This bar opens and closes within a tick. That's side by side stacked up congested bars. So don't take the short here. Even though you're thinking, hey, second entry short, lower high, don't take that because it's congestion. And you see what happens. It traps everybody and reverses. So just don't take that. Not a good idea. But I could see there's probably some people who are getting trapped in this spot, I think. Probably. All right. Hopefully none of you did. So then it runs up higher. You get this first entry short from this low. This is it's not really a double bottom, so nothing really there. We're back up to the range area. We get a close outside, new high, equal high. So there's kind of a move up to a new high, pullback, one more leg up. So it's kind of 2 legs up, but I don't think you want to take that. There is a first entry, second entry long here. Again, you just made this high. I think it's risky to take the second entry long there. I'm not taking that. I think some people might say you could take that. I don't think it's smart. There's reasons to like it. It is a close outside a new low. Whoops. It is a close outside a new low, but I just think it's risky to take a long there. It's not off of any key area. It is an engulfing bar, second entry long. I went back and forth on, is this a yellow? I'm not taking that personally. So I'm not even going to mark it because I think like this is one of those ones that, yes, there's a second entry long. Yes, it is the short-term downtrend has played out, but you just made this 2 legs to a new high. You don't have a new low on this downtrend. It could reverse on you here pretty aggressively. So I'm going to say if you took that long, it's probably like a 60% chance of working, maybe 70. So I don't even want to mark it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it at that. Now it does run higher. So at this point, you do have some decent stuff going on. And I drew this like this as a possibility. I think in hindsight, or not hindsight, but in real time, maybe, is there a spike in channel? Maybe. It keeps going higher. Not really anything I like there. So it goes up, makes a new high. Then you get this double top. You get this pullback. You get a first entry, second entry long, fails. So that's a failure right there. Again, you're stacked up. Draw, when you start to see bars getting very sideways, just draw a little range there, right? Even though there's not really dojis in here that much, just look at how this moves. Like, you have this here, closes. It's so sideways right here. You have to be careful in these zones. You really do. I will say this one is tempting. Like, if I was taking trades, this one might have even trapped me. This one might have even trapped me right here. This higher low. Because it's like a double top. It kind of looks like a first entry, second entry long, higher low. It's also like a double top, first entry, second entry long. If you took a setup here, I'll mark it. If you took a setup here and took a loss, I mean, that's pretty reasonable, to be honest. This is kind of a, it's kind of a second entry long, and it's also a higher low after a second entry long, depending on how you look at it. There's reasons to like that setup. And if you took a loss there, I don't blame you for taking that trade. It's starting to get, it is stacked up at the EMA there. You are getting a close below the EMA and then another close below. So there's some reasons to not like it. But if you did take it, I understand. You know, I was seeing that very briefly in real time. All right, let me look here. I don't see another way to draw this. I mean, you could also, I guess the other thing that could keep you out is if you looked at this like a spike in channel, which it kind of is, like this. This is a close outside new high, and that's an equal high. So you have reasons to not go long there, right? I drew the wider channel as a possibility. But if you draw the spike and channel here, this is a close outside of the spike and channel, new high, equal high, which you can treat like a lower high. And so there's reasons to not go long there. So anyway, I want to make sure I'm clear on everything. That's why you got to draw the short-term stuff. Now, during this move, I was talking the whole time about other stuff. So I wasn't clearly watching it play out exactly. So that's also part of that. I'm just marking this. Here, actually, let me change this to a, not a yellow. Let me change this to like one of these guys because it's not a trade that actually works. I didn't actually take a loss there. I didn't take a trade there. But I only took this trade today. The second entry long. That's the only trade I took. And that was all I was happy with that. And that was the best trade of the day anyway. It's the only one I marked as a green arrow. Okay, John, you said from 904 to 937. 904. Oh, for this. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so you could draw. You're talking about like this here. Nah, John, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's just bots. There's always transactions in the market. And buyers and sellers are always trying to figure out if the market's going higher or lower. But sometimes there's not enough momentum in it for it to push through, right? There's just a lot of buyers and sellers entering in the same zone, so it goes sideways for a little bit. I mean, it's just the nature of price. Like, you're always going to get period of up, sideways, down. You know, it's just the nature of how transactions happen. It's like the market is the people in the market transacting are not sure if it's going higher or lower here. They're getting in, they're exiting. There's a lot of entering and exiting happening in here. And then eventually the buying dries up or the selling dries up and it moves the other direction. I mean, it's just the way it is. I wouldn't say the market's a So it finally breaks through the bottom here. That's the level that we might come back and test. Let's zoom out real quick. Basically, at this point, you could probably draw a giant range. Like this. For the whole day. Drag it over. Both directions. And all that you can see is that this area that we were at was the middle of this giant range. That's all. And that's what happens in the middle of ranges. More ranging. Right? That's how it is. That's how it always is. Look, I don't purport to be an expert on exactly why the market does what it does, exactly why. I just know that price moves based on human psychology, and that's pretty much it. Like, if I had the secrets to why we're in a range and why we're not and all this stuff, then, I mean, I would be able to have a crystal ball to predict the market, and I would be... It just wouldn't make sense, right? Yeah, I mean, people take profits, right? People take profits. When you get to these highs, people start taking profits. That creates some selling pressure. But then there's also people buying because they're trying to FOMO in. They think it's a pullback on the up move. So they think it's a pullback. So they're buying up other people exiting their profits, right? A lot of people carried runners up here. They start exiting their trades up here. And then people are buying it thinking it's just a pullback. But really, this is all the buyers from the original move exiting. And all these other people are buying it up thinking it's a pullback. And it just keeps on buying up all those orders. And then there's sell pressure starting because there's people that are trying to short from the highs. And then eventually, the sellers win here. I mean, that's just how it goes. The way the market moves. All right. Did I miss anything? If anybody sent anything and I missed it, just say it again in the chat. I'm probably going to wrap up the stream here soon. It's been an awesome discussion today. I'll watch this market for a little bit longer, but while we answer some questions. So in a moment like this, when you have a big move down, first entry, and then another move down, this is kind of like a first entry. It's going to form a second entry. Sometimes what I will do is I'll draw a slightly wider channel as just a possibility. Like, we might actually get a slightly wider channel here, something like this. So I'll draw it as a possibility. What? What? Guy, why are you asking me such things? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I actually used to use Linux instead of Windows, but it was too annoying with trying to use NinjaTrader. So I stopped using it. But I used to run Ubuntu as my operating system. But that's still an operating system. So I'm not sure what you're asking that for, but hey, I don't know. You tell me. I'm not the guy to ask. I just look like I can't. It's funny that you said that because I did used to run everything with Linux. I did. Yeah, I did. I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer. CSJ, awesome. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I'm going to stay here a little bit longer. Guy, that was hilarious. I actually did used to run my computer using Linux, and I ran Ubuntu because I liked Ubuntu's interface, and I actually love Ubuntu a lot. And I'm a ThinkPad guy, so I would strip Windows off and run my ThinkPads with Ubuntu. And I really did love it, but the problem that I ran into was just, I got annoyed with certain software. Like, you can run NinjaTrader and stuff. You just have to use what's called Wine to emulate Windows components. Or you can use, like, there's a couple of tools like Wine and things like that that you can run. The problem I ran into, though, is that it just doesn't run super smooth because you're, like, emulating components of Windows and all this, and it's just not good overall. It doesn't run very smoothly. It crashes sometimes, and it's just not ideal. And so there was no reason to keep doing it, even though I loved Ubuntu. I loved the UI. I just loved the simplicity of it. I just felt like it was so amazing for so many things. But unfortunately, it's not great for trading software. So that was the bummer of it, because I actually did like it. All right, I'll be right back. Give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, everybody. I'm back. You guys are making me laugh today. Some good comments. Good comments. This ended up not really looking like it turned into a trend here. So I'm not going to assume that we're going to get a new low here, because that doesn't really look like a trend to me. I drew it as a possibility. So what I'm really seeing here is first entry, second entry long, higher low, but no good setup there. And I don't take these typically in a spot like this. We're in no man's land. So even though there's a second entry long there, I'm not taking that. You can't just take everything. Guy, my music. Oh, man. Dude, these comments today are so good. So good. I love that. Yeah, that's what this is my music. It's under my name. You just look me up, Nick Bannock. This is one of my tracks. Here, let me turn the quality up. You can see I play an instrument called the handpan, and this is it right here. I just recorded out in nature. This one was recorded actually in Bend, Oregon. If anyone's ever been to Bend, Oregon, I was there in the summer and recorded this while I was there. So I have two handpans. This is one of them. So this is me playing out in nature, and that's what we listen to on the stream. When I do my Zoom calls with the school community, we don't have music on because it's like much more. It's much more like interactive, educational in a way, I guess. But I do it with these. Gives me something to do while we're streaming. And I don't have to deal with YouTube copyrights because it's my own music. I would play other music if I could, but there's all kinds of weird rules with YouTube around that. So, you know how it goes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's amazing out there. It's a cool place. It's a little too dry for me. It's kind of like the desert out there. Trees are smaller. I live in the rainforest. I live in the temperate rainforest, and it's huge cedar and Doug fir trees. A lot of rain, a lot of wet. I love it where I live. It's super full of life. It's definitely gray for a lot of the year, but it's amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anywhere else, to be honest with you. It's my favorite place. I love the rainforest, and then I live near the mountain, and I snowboard a lot, and I love the snow, so that's amazing too. All right, let's see. If you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Happy to answer whatever. If you haven't done so already, check out the school community. We got some people joining on 7-day free trials. We got 7-day free trials now. The about page is in the chat. It's also in the description. There's a 7-minute video here talking about it. Just some screenshots of the inside. It explains everything here. I already went through it earlier in the stream, what's all inside and how it all works. But you get access to everything besides the full course unlocks on after you've been in for 8 days. So after you become a paying member, that's this course. But you get access to the Start Here course, which has a bunch of stuff, including a 4-hour course in it. You get access to that. You get access to the live coaching sessions, which go all the way back to November of 2024. So full year of these in here. So you can watch those. You can access the daily price action and where I chart out everything. You can access the calendar and join the live calls. So you can really start getting into it and make sure it's a good fit for you. And I want people to be able to try it and make sure it's a good fit. So you're not paying it's $99 a month. So if you join on the free trial, you can make sure that you like it, you like my vibe and my style and everything before you fully commit to it. Because I don't want anybody to be paying me money if they don't like it, right? So I want you to be able to do it. And yeah. Oh yeah, I know Change of Colors. Yeah, she's great. She's great. Yeah, Dan, I listen to her as well. I listen to, obviously, Malty Martin. He's amazing. He's probably my favorite. But yeah, I like Change of Colors a lot, and I like Malty Martin. I like Konstantin Rossler a lot. You know, I love all those players. Yeah, it's $99 a month, but again, it's a 7-day free trial. So that gives you access to almost everything. The only things you don't get access to in the 7-day trial are the full course unlocks after you're a paying member, and the indicator suite that I built for NinjaTrader that makes price action trading a lot easier. Those unlock after you're a paying customer. But you can still make sure that you like everything before you become a paying customer. That's the whole point. Yeah, and it's only $99 a month. I mean, the way I see it is it's a no-brainer. Like, you can take a trade and be making more than that, you know, one trade. So I see it as like trying to keep it chill. And you get a lot of personalized attention. Like, even, for example, today, somebody asked a question and I sent them a Loom video. Like, I'll reply in depth to people. Like, I'll reply to people with Loom videos. I'm very hands-on with my replies to people and like my interactions and stuff. And anybody in the community will tell you that. Some of the people are probably still here in the chat that are in my paid community, and they'll tell you that it's very hands-on and thorough. I only take 1 to 4 trades a day. Today I took 1. I only take 1 to 4. That's my rule because I found that when I took more than 4 trades, my results were worse. And that's just something I identified in my own pattern. And I think part of it is I used to trade longer also. So I only trade from like a little bit of the pre-market up until about 8 a.m. Pacific time, maybe 8:15 a.m. Pacific time. And then I take a break and then I come back and do the live stream or the call. And then sometimes I'll take a trade on the live stream or call. But I'm pretty much only trading in like a 2-hour window of the day. From about like 6 a.m. to about 8 a.m. roughly. So I take 1 to 4 trades in there and then I call it good. And that's what I teach and what I focus on. Any other comments or questions? Put them in the chat. I'll be honest with everybody here. Today, when I came in, I was feeling a little off. I'm going to explain. So I figured, why not? I'm actually going to talk about this. I might make a video on this later. But I might make a video on this later and release it like whenever. But something I identified, and it's feeling off, right? I was feeling off this morning. And it's because I had a really long few days. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Just real life stuff, right? Like one of the nights, one of my kids woke up and had thrown up in the night. woke me up at like 3 in the morning. It was a whole thing. It's hard to go back to sleep after. That's hard when that kind of stuff happens, right? Messes up your day a little bit, like threw things off. You know, one of my other kids, he broke his retainer. We had to do an emergency orthodontist appointment. That was a whole thing. Like, just a lot of the plans that we had. It was just like, you know, it's sick season right now where everyone gets sick, the fall before winter type thing. So there was that stuff going on. I had some event that I was going to. Just a lot going on, right? I had a lot going on over the weekend, and it threw off my rhythm, routine a bit. And I did have a good night of sleep last night, which was good. But I woke up today and was still feeling a little bit funky. And so I did do my normal stuff. I did my routine. I did my prayer. I tried to center myself. I still followed my routines that I always do. And I will say, like, I'm so grateful that I've developed some of these routines because they make such a difference. I can't state it enough. Like, I probably sound like a broken record talking about it so much, but it's seriously so important how valuable it really is. It really is. Like, it truly makes all the difference in my life. Having like practices and routines to center me, because even though I was feeling funky this morning, I was able to do my stuff, get on track, lock in, execute my trading plan exactly as I wanted to, wait patiently for my first setup, which took a while, right? This setup didn't come until 6:45. Like, I'd been sitting here for almost an hour before I got my trade. And then I had to stay out of stuff because there wasn't anything really that good after. So I'm actually really happy with how I approached the day, despite feeling funky. Earlier in my career, feeling funky like I did today would have probably been something that would have led to losses. So but like today, it was a really profitable day. So just, you know, you gotta love that. So there you go. And I only left a single contract runner on that trade. I scalped most of it. But I think at the time, I can't remember how many ticks I went for. I think I went for 6 ticks on the scalp. It was either 6 or 7. I'd have to go back and look at the time. It might have been 7, actually. I think the ATR was high enough that I went for 7 ticks on the scalp, if I remember correctly. It might have been 6. I don't know. And then just a single runner. But great start to the week, everybody. Anybody else got any comments, questions? Questions about the school community? Go ahead and ask. Obviously, I'll be back to doing my stream on Friday on YouTube. But tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, my stream is on Zoom only for my school members. So if you want to join those, just do a free trial. And then obviously, if you're a member, you know what to do. All right, anything else? Anything else? Let me find it. Where's my, oh, I gotta look at something on my other screen. Bear with me one moment, please. Hey, we got one. Who knows the reference? Who knows the reference? This is my favorite GIF. Anybody know the reference? I'm gonna answer your question in just a second, guy. Anybody know the reference that I'm sharing here? I always do this when I'm taking people when I'm just like waiting for someone to say something. Bueller. All right. If you don't know, it's from the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's classic. It's a classic. Howdy. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Hello from PH. What would PH be? Someone help me out there. What does that mean? Okay, so Guy, you're wondering why I don't use TradingView. I do use TradingView for looking at just daily stuff. I don't use it for trading though, because it's actually the worst. It's one of the worst actual platforms for trading. It's good for charting and bad for trading. They have limited features. So they don't have ATM, which is automated trade management strategies. They don't have that. So they don't have ATM. When you enter a trade on there, you have to manually deal with your take profits and stop losses. You can't have a complex bracket order that sets a stop loss, a take profit with multiple levels and all this stuff. You have to you can set a stop loss and take profit, but you can't set it to automatically set multiple take profits and portion out your position and all this other stuff that you need in professional softwares. They also don't have complex tick charts. They only have one setting for that, and you have to have a super enterprise plan. So I trade on the 2000 tick chart. You need a real trading platform for that. So typically NinjaTrader, of course, is my preferred, but you can do it on Sierra Chart, multicharts.net, the other multicharts, I think Quant Tower. There's a bunch of platforms that have tick charts, but TradingView is not one that specializes in that. And I like to trade on the 2000 tick chart. So the combination of the automated trade management and the tick charts, and then the way that the charting platform works and functions, and the way the data feed works and functions, and how fast it is, that's why I like NinjaTrader. So that's how I look at it. Of course, it's not as popular, but that's because TradingView is just popular because YouTubers use it. That's really, I think, why. It looks pretty, right? TradingView looks pretty, but it's not actually that functional as a trading platform. It just looks pretty as a charting platform. I've used it in some videos just to show how you can look at it, because it does look pretty. And sometimes on here, if someone asks me to look at the monthly chart or the daily chart, I actually do use TradingView for it because it looks nice. All right, any other questions? If you got one, put them in the chat. Equal lows here. So technically, this is a second entry short below this bar. It is a second entry short below this bar. You do have equal lows. So when you get equal lows, you have the option to reset your count or use this as leg one. It's up to you what you're going to do there. It's always up to you how you want to evaluate it based on the context of the price action. Now, in my case, I drew this off of this close. This is barely a close outside, so you could easily even widen this slightly and have that be actually a touch point of the trend line, like this. Right? And that still fits very reasonably to me, with the midline still fitting very nice. So this is one that I would call this more of a yellow, because it is a second entry short. However, these are equal lows. So you could look at it like a first entry short from a double bottom, or you could look at it as a pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry. So that's why it's a yellow, because you had that equal low, and it makes it a little bit different of whether or not you evaluate it as a first entry or a second entry. That's a little nuanced. We're coming down to the lows here. from earlier. And that looks to be where we're headed. All right, everybody. I appreciate you for being here. Thanks, everybody, for watching the stream. The next YouTube stream will be on Friday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be in the school community on Zoom for the streams where I go over the price action. So if you want to join, check it out. It's in the description. It's in the chat. And you can do a free 7-day trial. So I will see everybody there. Thanks for being here again. I appreciate you all. Take care.